Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am highly obliged to the Motilal Oswal Security Services, who has given me this opportunity to share my ideas in this meeting. The topic suggested by the organizers is the labor reforms in India. Friends, the genesis of labor laws are in the Constitution of Constitution of India. The provisions and laws which are made by the government should be confirming the fundamental rights, Article 16, 19, 23, and 24. Similarly, they should be in conformity with the directive principle, Article 39, 41, 42, 43, 43A, and 45. Not only this, but the labor laws should be in the line with the ILO conventions, International Labour Organization. The ILO is the body where the labor standards are made, so that the labor laws provisions, general provisions, should be in uniformity all around the world. These labor laws are formed, promulgated, enacted in the various Indian labor conferences, which are taking place time to time, international labor conferences, which is organized annually in Geneva. Along with this, the various national commissions are constituted by the government. The labor laws are in the conformity and recommendation, based on the recommendations by the various commissions. In addition to that, the number of judicial pronouncements on labor laws which have helped to arrive at better interpretation of these laws and at times given a new direction to their implementation. When we talk about the labor laws, the Government of India has promulgated 44 labor laws. Out of 44 labor laws, the 13 labor laws exclusively enforced by the central government, and 12 labor laws are enforced central government as well as the state government. And rest 19 labor laws are enforced by the state government exclusively. Why it is so? Because in the Constitution of India, the labor is falling under the concurrent list. It means the Government of India, the central government, as well as the state governments, both can enact the labor laws. These 44 labor laws were enacted by the central government, and more than hundreds of labor laws, they are enacted by the state governments. Generally, some of the industrialists, they consider that labor laws are hurdles in the development of the industry. They are impediments in the industrial growth. They generally are of the view that number of labor laws are there, 150 labor laws are there. They are to be enforced, they are to be implemented in the industry. It is a very difficult task. They also have an opinion that these labor laws are very stringent. They have less flexibility. They are very cumbersome for implementation. The process is very long. Number of registers, records are to be kept and maintained in the industry. Simultaneously, labor laws do not recognize the electronic form of maintenance of records. I will give you one of the example which I faced during my inspection. One of the inspector has submitted a file for the prosecution of one of the employer, and the provision he has made in the file that the cooling water arrangements were missing. When I saw the reply of the employer, he said that I have already arranged the water cooler inside the premises. But in the act, it has been written that the cooling water facilities like in the matka to be given to the workers. So he was so methodical and so strict in his approach that the matka, he was searching matka. He was not seeing the water cooler situated in the premises, and he submitted his thing. So I called him and advised him, this is not the correct way of putting things. Similarly, when I was on the that inspection of one of the unit in Gujarat, one of our head clerk submitted a file that the employer has not maintained so and so register. He reported me. I saw that, I'm talking about the 2002, year 2002. He was having a bunch of copies of the records and fully tagged. Means that computerized printing copies were there, which was not acceptable to our Bada Babu. So such situations are there, we generally face when we go in the field. The people also say that the definition of employer in different act is different. Mines Act, the owner of mine. Factories Act, occupier of the factory. Agent of the mine, employer, Contract Act, principal employer. So all together they are confusing. Similarly, in the different labor laws, you will find the different definition of wages, workers, somewhere it is workers, somewhere it is employee, somewhere it is workman. Even the definition of appropriate government is also not synonymous. Everywhere it is different in different acts. Sometimes we as an inspector also, we find difficulty in some of the cases, which is the appropriate government, whether it is a central government or the state government. So the question which we were raising, that it is the high time to relook our labor laws, for which the all stakeholders should have a meeting. There is a process in the ILO Convention 144 is there, which says that all the labor laws, either enacted or amended, it should have a tripartite consultation. Means the government, employers representative, employers associations, and the workers trade unions. All the three parties should sit together and discuss their point of view for enactment or amendment in any of the laws. We have experienced rather in the when we go for any amendment in the labor laws, it takes around 2 years of time. Suppose any amendment is to take place, the Ministry of Labor has to decide what kind of amendment is required. Before putting things in writing in cabinet note, they have a tripartite consultation with the trade union, employers association. They make and even they invite the suggestions from the government also. After receiving all the suggestions, they prepare a cabinet note. And cabinet note is circulated to the various ministries and the state government for inviting their suggestions and opinions. After getting the opinion, final draft of the cabinet note is prepared and submitted to the cabinet. The cabinet examine this. If they have any suggestion, they again send to the ministry to rectify that, amend that, reconsider their point of view, and a final note is submitted to the cabinet again. Once the cabinet submits it to the parliament again relook it, and the committee, various committees are there in parliament also. The labor law amendment committee or enactment committee is also there, which they recommend to the standing committee, parliamentary standing committee. That parliamentary standing committee again have a same procedure of tripartite discussions. They call it as the evidences. The government officials are called, simultaneously the employers associations as well as the trade union federations. They also are invited separately, and separate discussions takes place. And again then after discussion takes place, then it is put up in the Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha for the amendment or enactment of the labor law. Once it is passed by the parliament, it is put up for the approval of the president, and after that only it comes in the form of the law. Now coming to today's topic, that is the labor law reforms in India. Make in India is an international marketing campaigning slogan coined by Prime Minister Modi in September last year to attract business from around the world to make the country a manufacturing hub. A major new national program designed to facilitate investment, foster innovation, enhance skill development, protect intellectual property, and build best-in-class manufacturing infrastructure. These are the various objectives of Make in India program. There's never been a better time to make in India. This is the appropriate time. That is why the government has selected this is the appropriate time and launched this Make in India program. Ministry of Labor and Employment has taken certain major initiatives for Make in India program a success and provide a favorable environment to the industry. These are the, now I'm going to discuss with you what are the, in last 1 year, 1.5 years, what the government of India has taken various steps. The first step the government of India has taken that the Shram Suvidha portal has been started in October 2014. For making this program, I was also one of the instrument for making this portal. It has 4 major features. That is, the unique identification number will be allotted to units to facilitate online registration. Any industry, so far this Shram Suvidha portal, it is applicable only in the central sphere. The state governments are also invited to join it. And they have given, the state governments are, some of the state governments have given their preparedness and willingness to join the Shram Suvidha portal. So it is going to, or expanded to the various states also. All the employers, the industries, they can register themselves at this portal and they will be allotted a unique labor identification number so that online return can be submitted by them. I will tell you the later on the various advantages of this portal. The next is filing of self-certified and simplified single online return. By the industry, instead of filing 16 separate returns, amendments to the 10 rules have been taken up. Under the central sphere, under 16 labor laws enactments, the employer has to file a return, annual return. By this portal, one single return is supposed to be filed by him. Time period is fixed and the amendment in the rule is also in the way, or most of the amendments have already been taken. Similarly, the computerized inspection report within 72 hours by the labor inspectors. People are afraid of labor inspector Raj. When anybody introduces himself as an inspector, whether it is a police inspector, whether it is an income tax inspector, excise inspector, labor inspector, people afraid of the inspector. Why? Because they have been given lot of power under the Act. And they show their power whenever they go for inspection. They show their power by telling them, these are the provisions, we can file prosecution against you. And you can be jailed for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever. So that is why people are afraid of the Inspector Raj. And after last one is that, fourth one is that the timely redressal of grievances. The grievances of the workers can also be filed on this portal, Shram Suvidha portal, and online itself the grievances will be settled and communicated to him. This move will give benefit to the 6 to 7 lakh industrial units, and it will ease cumbersome compliance procedure for labor laws. What used to happen, the labor inspector, as per his wish, he goes to the establishment and have inspection. And some of the industries, factories, they are frequently visited by him. Maybe due to he may expect something from them, or he wants to harass the industries. To stop this practice, this portal will function in a positive manner, and all the industries which is falling in his jurisdiction, a computerized program will be there through which randomly the industries will be selected, and he will then inspect the industries or establishment which are selected. The officer concerned will give him the names of the industry, and after inspection is over, within 72 hours, he has to upload his inspection report. Then only his inspection will be completed. If he has not reported the inspection within 72 hours, the action will be initiated against him. And it will be mentioned in this annual appraisal also. Similarly, some complaints are there. Particular industry, they are not following the labor laws. They are harassing the trade union. They are harassing the workers. So such complaints will also be centrally examined, inquired, and appropriate level at the headquarter, and instructions will be given downward to go for inspection or not. This will cut down over 3 lakh inspection annually, what we expected. It is presumed that 3 lakh inspections annually will be cut down, and it will bring transparency. Once a industry is inspected, a defined period, after a defined period only it can be re-inspected. On one more provision it has got that online, if he has given his self-certification, that also provision is made under the provision, this portal. Recently, the amendment has taken place. The labor law exemption from furnishing returns and maintenance register by Certain Establishment Act 1988. This act was enacted in the year 1988 to facilitate rather to the small industries less than 19 workers, where the less than 19 workers are employed. Under this act also, 2 types of definitions they have made. Very small, up to 10, and 11 to 19, small. So that provision was there. And three registers they were supposed to make. Now they are being reduced by this amendment. The small factory, the definition of a small factory has been raised from 10 to 14 workers instead of 10 to 19 workers. Now they have to maintain two registers instead of three registers. Now the government has recognized the, the computerized maintained floppy, diskette or records as per the new amendment of the Rules and Act. And they can submit the returns by email also. Apprentices Act 1961, this act also has been amended recently. A comprehensive amendment bill to the Apprentices Act 1961 that has been passed by the Parliament by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Trade-wise regulations of seats is to be replaced by a minimum and maximum percentage of total strength of the workers. Within this band, the apprentices can be engaged in any trade or industry. The minimum and a maximum number will be fixed by the state governments. How much minimum or maximum number can be engaged as an apprentices. Industry can also engage apprentices in optional trade which are not designated by the ministry with the discretion to entry level qualification and syllabus. Scope being extended also to non-engineering occupations as at diploma and degree level. The lot of scope has been given to the employers. The trade which have not been identified, recognized, designated by the government, the employer can also give apprenticeship training in those trades where he can utilize the workers. We have experienced that in many of the industry, they give an appointment to the worker as an apprentice, and they keep it for 3 to 4 years as an apprentice. And those apprentices are fully engaged in all kind of production and full time of manufacturing in the industry. So such type of exploitations were also taking place in many of the industry. It will curtail that exploitation also. In the penalty, earlier the provision of prosecution of fines as well as imprisonment was also there. Now after this amendment, only penalty in terms of fine can be imposed. Permission to outsource basic training in an institute of their choice. Apprentices could also be from other states. Other states that apprentices are there, they can also be engaged. The employment and training in the ministry, labor and employment, the employment and training departments separate. That is also important division in the ministry, which deals with the not only apprentices but employment and training of various trades and creeds. A comprehensive revamp. You see that the stipend has been doubled, and keeping in mind that stipend should not be less than the minimum wages. That also has been suggested. And the 50% of that wages, training stipend, will be borne by the government itself. And the ministry has also decided to appoint a national brand ambassador for vocational training. Any of the renowned personality can be engaged as a national brand ambassador. It will increase the employability of the youth by giving them skill training. At present, just 2.82 lakh apprentices are there in the country. Every year you will find that not more than 3 lakh apprentices are trained by our ITIs. Now the government has proposed it to raise it to the 20 lakh every year. To achieve that only, they have made the amendment in the Apprentices Act. Today, it is applicable where 20 or more workers are there. Or 10 and more means the equivalent to the ESI Act 1948. Other initiatives which are very important for the industry, that is the small factory bill. The second National Labour Commission in 2002, they have suggested for the SME sector, there should be a separate exclusive labour laws containing all the provisions. Is the unit which is having 5 workers, how they can maintain the all implement all the provisions of the labour laws? Their capacity is not allowing them to maintain all long list of labour laws, records, registers, and maintain it. And simultaneously, the Inspector Raj ill effect. So these are because of these, the small factory bill, it is under consideration, and it will be applicable where less than 40 workers are there. Comments are invited from the various ministries, and it has been referred to the interministerial group which has been set up by the government to propose and hold the tripartite consultation. The National Labour Commission in 2002 has submitted report to the government. In its recommendation, the National Labour Commission has suggested that the huge number of labour laws are there. They should be grouped in 5 labour codes. And these labour codes should be on industrial relation, wages, social security, safety and welfare and working conditions. These are the various 5 groups are there. All the labour laws can be divided into these 5 major groups. Working condition laws, where the Factories Act is there for factories. Dock Workers Act is there for docks. Mines Act is there. Motor transport workers are there. These are the various building and other construction workers are there. These are the various labour laws under this group. Wages Act is there. Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Wages Act, Bonus Act. These are the various Act to be made in single labor code. Industrial Relations Act, Industrial Dispute Act 1947, Standing Orders Act 1946, and Trade Union Act 1926. All these three acts will be combined in one labor code, that is IR, Industrial Relations Labor Code. Social Security Group, the Provident Fund Act, ESI Act, Workmen Compensation Act, Gratuities Act, these are the various 4-5 acts are there to be combined together under the name of Social Security. So these are the various subgroups they are making it, which is also being considered by the government. In last 1 year, the Employees State Insurance Corporation, ESI Act 1948, that has also gone to the various changes, amendments, and delegation to the states. These changes are the state governments have been given lot of powers so that should not go to the corporation, and corporation generally called its meeting half yearly, and the things are pending for longer period. So they decided that it should be they delegated. The State Executive Committee, it will have a power of 50 lakh for executing special repair works, which were earlier less. The State Executive Committee will have the power up to 3 crore for special repair of 200 bedded ESI hospitals, and up to 5 crore for special repair of ESI hospitals for more than 200 beds. Similarly, the State Executive Committee have been delegated the power to approve the empanelment, de-empanelment, blacklist of the hospitals for secondary care as well as super specialty treatment. Earlier, these powers were not there with the State Executive Committee. And super specialty treatment also, the powers has been given to the State Executive Committee. Similarly, the ceiling on medical expenditure to be reimbursed to the state has also been raised from 1,500 per year to 2,000 per IP. IP means insured person per year. This amount is given by the ESIC to the state government. So mostly that under ESIC hospitals or dispensaries, they are run by the state government. The wider access to the health care in order to extend benefit of ESIC scheme to the labor force in smaller towns, scattered industrial areas, a concept of implementation to implement ESI scheme by providing wider access to the labor force in larger health system has been initiated by the government. The concept of IMP, Insurance Medical Practitioner, has been started where the small place is there, the authorized medical attendant can be appointed as a IMP who can take care of the smaller number of IPs situated residing in that area. These IMPs can draw the medicines from the ESI, nearest ESI hospitals. And the basis is where the 2,000 more insured families are there. There, the provision of IMPs are made. Now, the EAP, Employees Provident Fund Organization. In last 2 years, the government has made so many amendments in the EPFO scheme. The last year only, September 2014, earlier the wage limit was 6,500, that has been raised to the 15,000 per month. Minimum pension, earlier there was no minimum limit of pension. Generally, people who have served very less number of years, they used to get pension at the rate of 50 rupees, 150 rupees, 200 rupees. Because there, it is in comparison this, how much they have contributed to the fund and how much long period they were associated with the EPF scheme. It was calculated on the basis of that. So their pension used to be around less than 200 rupees in general. That has been raised to the 1,000 rupees. The subsidy amount which is given by the central government, that has also been raised to the rupees 1,200 crore per annum. Under the employees deposit linked insurance scheme, after the death, the people used to get 1,30,000, that has been raised to the 3,60,000. 99% of the annual accounts have been updated in respect of 15.18 crore members under EPFO. As a part of ease of doing business and to facilitate employers to get their establishment registered with EPFO, a facility for online registration of establishment was launched. More than 20,000 employers have got their codes from EPFO online. Under KYC norms, universal account numbers have been currently underway, and it is being linked with the Aadhaar and PAN number also. You see that because of UAN, as on today, 2,700 crore unclaimed amount is pending with the Provident Fund Organization, because people who were engaging with the industry, they left the job and joined other industry, and they could not claim it back from the EPFO. So this account number, this amount have been accumulated around 2,700 crore lying inoperative in the EPFO. The member passbook for EPF members containing real-time updates to the members' individual account is now available on the web portal of EPFO. I go back in 1987 when I was labor commissioner in ordnance factory at Jabalpur. One of the union, they submitted a proposal in their demand that all EPF Provident Fund members should be given issued passbook. Since it was not in the hand of the employer, they just referred it to the government. I am talking about the 86, 87. And today, the same demand have been accepted, and now the people are been allotted the passbook, which was not there earlier. The establishments can now remit EPF dues electronically and through banks. Similarly, the facilities of corporate check payable at par has been introduced in order to secure payments of benefits to the members and to eliminate the incidence of fraud reported by way of manipulation of check for payment after it is issued by the EPFO. In the Ghaziabad area, 5 years back, there was a crores of scam was came to the light, where the Regional Provident Fund Office employees and officers, they were involved in that. So, to curb these malpractices, the EPFO has taken this step. Unorganized workers, I think it is not applicable to you. Now, the social dialogue. Social dialogue means, in general terms, we call it workers' participation in management. It is achieved through tripartite consultation, collective bargaining, workers' participation in management in various forums, conciliation and arbitration, etc. Most of the Indian labor legislations have incorporated tripartism in provisions relating to the composition of various statutory committees, boards. In every act, you will find a tripartite committees to be constituted by the employer. So this by the government, not employer, by the government, at the state level as well as the central level. So these are the various committees, statutory committees are there. 21 statutory committees are there. And the government has also constituted non-statutory committees. That is, 17 committees are there as on date. These are the various forums through which the tripartite discussions takes place, and the workers and the employers' representative and the government officials are there to contribute and give their suggestions to the government, so that their say is there in implementation of the act, implementation of these various schemes and rules. These are the various forums where the workers' participation is being taken place in the country. Thank you.